It's a beautiful
We in 6 countries. That's what
Yes.
I mean. So that's the thing that stands out to me.
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. We love y'all.
Yes, thank y'all for listening.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm Coach Deb, representing one half of the Healing Corner podcast. If you're interested in booking a consultation as well as service or a reading, go ahead and check me out at debshealingcornerstone.com.
I'm Coach Yams, owner of Healing is Work Coaching, and I help millennial professional women to live on purpose unapologetically and to help them to stop doing shit out of obligation. If you need help with that, reach out to me, Coach Yams, YAMZ.com. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Healing Corner podcast. We are here today, me, Coach Yams, my co-host, Coach Deb, and we have a special guest with us today, JBaker. And so I'm going to introduce him, and then we're going to get into this conversation. With a passion for music since childhood, JBaker honed his craft in the vibrant Nashville entertainment scene. His expertise as a producer, musician amplifies his prowess as a DJ by captivating audiences with seamless mixes and transitions. What sets JBaker apart is not just his technical skill behind the decks, but his ability to connect with audiences on a visceral level. Each mix is a journey carefully crafted to evoke emotion, provoke interaction, and ignite the dance floor with energy. Beyond the decks, JBaker is a curator, a tastemaker, and an entertainment industry ambassador, constantly pushing the envelope and challenging the status quo. The dedication to his craft and relentless pursuit of sonic excellence has earned him a devoted following and acclaim from industry peers. Thank you for joining us, JBaker.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So the way that we get things kicked off here is we usually ask about your journey. So can today's topic specifically, we want to get into mental health, specifically with Black men. And who better to have a conversation about men's mental health as a Black man than a Black man? So here is a Black man giving us his experience and perspective and journey as, in the mental health space. So can you tell us about like your experience with mental health, like wherever you want to begin, whatever feels good to share?
Nice. Okay. Um, my journey and my experience with mental health has been like an on again, off again. And it's been that way simply because of just things I've gone through and just things that I've tried to get past or move past, things I'm trying to work on, the self work, the healing work, the growth work, all of that. In addition to that, having friends and family members gone through their experiences and gone through their journeys, and as a part of community, just trying to provide like support, for the people that reach out and say, hey, can you just be a listening? Can you just listen? Can you just be an ear? Don't necessarily need an opinion right now, but can you be an ear? But going back to me specifically, I've had bouts where I've struggled with mental health, um, and hadn't gone as far as to get anything like diagnosed, but have struggled with, my own, like I say, experiences and moving past some things and getting past some things. And was actually seeking therapy at one point, but it got expensive. And I'm an entrepreneur. I don't have health insurance. So we know how that can add up. But and then the times and the moments I was in therapy, I did see some growth, and it was helping the self-work and the healing. But then again, it just got expensive. So I wasn't able to sustain and consistently stay uh in a technical therapy space, but because I knew the therapist and I had a relationship, we still would tap in and check in from time to time. So in a way, I was still getting therapy, but it wasn't just a traditional in a traditional space in a traditional way. So
Deb, did you have any questions? Yeah, Kelly.
So, actually, I wanted to say shout out to him because he's actually the one that did our music for us. As a side note, the intro and the outro. So, shout out to him for that. But I did have a question. So, when it comes to like cultural expectations and social expectations for Black men, what do you think? What do you think the cultural and the social aspect? What do they expect from Black men? What do you see?
um we are, well, culturally, I think we're expected to be the forefront. We're expected to be the rock, the center. We're expected to be like the provider and the protection. And society, um I guess we're expected to not say not show emotion or not have emotion or not experience emotion, but we're not necessarily given an outlet or know that we have outlets to express ourselves or express emotion or express in all the range of emotions, not just being mad, frustrated, or feel like you're going through something, but just the emotion of being happy and the emotions of, positivity is not always a you have to go searching for it. You have to go looking for it. Not to say things aren't out there, not to say things don't exist, but you have to really dig deep and you really have to find it. You really have to look for it. But the cultural expectation is that um, we move forward no matter what. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, pick yourself up by your bootstrap. All the memes and soliloquies. You know what I mean? We gotta, go get it, and it's just all of that. So
I did want to add to this too. Do you think that your family background has a lot to do with it too? Do you think when it comes to Black men being raised in certain type of family dynamic?
sure, no, sure. That's a great question. Because that's the environment that the seed is grown in. It's like your family and your dynamic and how you're raised. Two-parent household versus one-parent household. Being raised by a single parent, being a male versus uh, being raised by your father versus being raised by your mother, being raised by both parents. So definitely your family, your home environment definitely plays a part because that's what you see and those are your first references, and that's kind of where you begin to identify whether you agree with it or not, whether it feels right or not, but you agree or you start to identify with, okay, this is how relationships work, or this is what marriage looks like, this is what it's supposed to be, this is how I'm supposed to act, this is how I'm supposed to show up, or depending on your experience, or this is, I don't want to show up like this, or I know my parents aren't perfect, but they ain't getting it right, but I know I can't do this. You know, so the family and the is the environment that the seed grows in for sure, and it definitely plays a part.
I wanted to ask if there were any, because, having support, having resources, knowing that options exist so that you can tap in makes a difference, and knowing where to find those makes a difference. And you express that it's hard. And I know Deb and I have talked offline about how we recognize that men struggle with having support in mental health, and it seems like there's not a lot of resources available. And so, my question to you is, what mentors or role models have you tapped into that have been helpful for you?
Um,
Or where do you go to seek the support in times when you need it?
I have a couple friends that I reach out to that really hold me down. I have a couple of homies that I can reach out to. One being blood family, and then one not being blood family. But one in the same in terms of, um, hey man, if you just need an ear or you need an opinion, but know that the opinions come with accountability, you know what I mean, kind of thing. But I do have friends and family, and then beyond those two, there are other people that I can confide in and can go to. I know that, and pick up a phone when I and reach out when I really, really, really need to. Maybe I should personally do more and could do more and stand in terms of like reaching out. And then there are a couple of men's groups online, social media, Facebook that you can join and be a part of. I know that there was a men's group that got together and did boxing and went like I want to say like hot boxing, just as like a way to like stress relief. But then I guess come together at the same time in community and you know share, lean on one another, do the whole brotherhood thing. So there are options and different things out there. So I try to do like a range of things when my schedule allows. A lot of times with the group meetings and the group settings, I'm working or there's a conflict. But being a part of like the social groups, different active groups, different workout groups, um, provide the community, and then you could filter relationships out through that. So I start with my people, my tribe, my homies, and then I lean on some other people when I can.
Okay, my question is, what do you think that the Black community could do to bring more awareness and also like advocate for the Black, men and the mental health when it comes to that?
I think just continue in the community, those who engage in the activism, mental health activism and awareness, and those who help treat mental health and awareness, and then those who support it, it just continues to do those things, and then just continue to share. Because a lot of times, like I said, we don't know that we have access to things, and not only that, because we don't have access to information, you just don't have access to the resources or the knowledge. So if you have resources or you're connected to people that are doing some great things and some cool things, then it's just about spreading the word and spreading awareness. And shares are free, likes are free, you know what I'm saying? So and then the little things make the bigger thing bigger. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times we are looking for this big grandiose thing to happen, or it's like, okay, mental health is like a pill I can take and then I'm just going to be cured or be healed or that kind of thing. But it's the journey in the process. So allowing the process to be the process, whatever that looks like, and just continue to spread awareness.
I love that. It's one of the things that I do try to make a point to do when I at least am on social media, because, like you said, likes and shares are free. And there's one page in particular that I follow that I appreciate seeing. It's called Express Yourself Black Man. I believe that's the name of it on Instagram. And anytime they share some kind of a thing that is uplifting Black men, I'm like, ooh, yes, let me share this, because there are Black men that follow me or don't follow me, but they may need to hear that. And that's my way of making sure I do that, because I'm not a Black man, and a Black man might not want to come and talk to me about his problems, but that's my contribution. Anyway, my question for you is, what coping strategies or practices have you found helpful with managing your mental health?
Um, Communicating, again, talking and being open, and trusting the spaces that I have to be vulnerable, to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? Um, Another thing I do, exercise, walking, walking more and doing more, just like little things, not just so much in the gym trying to just be this big bodybuilder or anything like that, but just moving my body, um, getting out, getting fresh air, taking a break. Once a week, I try to detach from everything in terms of emails, phone calls, business. I'm trying to back down social media in terms of just watching social media. You know what I mean? Because we can get caught up watching social media. So just trying to um what I say detach and just get away and just kind of get away and stay present. I'm reading a lot more. I have materials. I was blessed with a great book today about wellness and self-care and different things you could do. Um, so and it's a lot of times, like I say, it just I get in the car and drive. and I just move around. You know what I mean? I might just drive for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, not necessarily going to one particular place, but, just playing music, just moving around.
Okay, so my question is, when it comes to the stigmas and the barriers in the community, how have you been able to navigate that when it comes to being a Black male?
Uh, well, the only barrier I believe is just communication styles between not only like with your peers and people like of your age group, but then like up or down. So me talking to younger people, um, communication style got to be a little different from me talking to the older generation. You know what I mean? As far as stigmas, you just have to get to a point where you just don't care what nobody else thinks. You got to do what you got to do for you, and it's about you first. So it's always, for me, it's always first things first. And if I'm not taking care of me and doing the things I need to do for me, then I can't support or take care of anything anybody else asks me to do or need from me. You know what I mean? Being a little younger, you might not express yourself. I remember there are times where I didn't want to express myself for just having, not only being looked at a certain way, but just, here we go with this conversation again. Here we go with this. Man, I'm just trying to express myself. I ain't trying to make it a competition or turn this into anything or turn this into a back and forth or a grudge kind of thing. So, um, and then I think people too, a lot of times, because we try to help and we try to relate, we turn into like Mr. Me Too. You know what I mean? So that happens a lot too, where you're expressing yourself. Oh man, I did the same thing. I was over here, man. I'm going through something, and I ain't man. I was down and out too. I was feeling okay. So I mean, so there's a lot of that. So having to deal with that pendulum one way or the other is just kind of like, I think I'm just gonna stay neutral, stay centered, and figure it out. You know what I mean?
And so I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, you say that talking to the younger people looks one way, talking to the older generation looks one way. Obviously, as a human, we evolve. How has your like understanding and engagement with mental health evolved over the years as you've learned more?
Uh, well, I'm not so like hard with me. Like I changed my conversation, right? I changed my internal dialogue, and then I stopped using certain words unless I'm talking about a certain things or having a certain context, right? So, and then this has helped me like reframe my thinking and reframe my perspective in terms of how I go about things, right? So, one thing I do, and one thing I encourage people to do is stop using the word hard, because hard becomes an emotional word in the context that people use it. So when they're using it as a result of something being like something emotional, or there's some emotional charge, right? So when they talk about, oh, school is hard, work is hard, marriage relationship is hard, this is hard, that's hard, becomes more emotional. Whereas I don't use the word hard, I use the word challenge. Yeah, marriage is challenging, school is challenging, entrepreneurship is challenging, but I asked myself, I said, okay, is this a challenge that I'm willing to take, good, bad, or indifferent? And then if I'm up for the challenge, then I take the challenge. And if not, then I can say no and move on. Um, I think as far as communicating up or down, it's just all about the approach and the icebreaker for me. I think you can get further and engage further if your approach, you just have to temper your approach to who you're talking to. You know what I mean? And then I'm not saying that you have to like do this whole jazz hands kind of thing, but you just kind of have to, okay, okay, I can't, come in hard, come in loud, rah with younger people, because then that's a turnoff. You know what I mean? And then you can't come in and you can't be disrespectful in your approach to older people. You know what I mean? Because then now they rah. So and it's just like, okay. And we're back here again. So.
And then my follow-up question would be, what would be something that you would tell like younger you or a younger Black man today to advise him in how to navigate this world, a part of life, whatever comes to you that you feel like compelled to share?
What I would tell the younger me, figure out how to get out of your own way. And that's different for everybody. And because it's different for everybody, it looks different for everybody. It rolls out different for everybody. So I would just tell myself, figure out how to get out of your own way. One, two, take your time. You don't have to go as fast to go as far, and you don't have to be in such a hurry to get to the 10,000 hours, because the 10,000 hours is going to happen. You know, you don't sacrifice things over here. Don't sacrifice relationships, and don't sacrifice opportunities because you think they have to look a certain way or it has to roll out a certain way, and because you're chasing a thing over here. Also, too, I would tell myself, the last bit of advice I would tell myself to one, not take everything personally. You know what I mean? Because everything ain't personal. And then two is just figuring out how to, again, stay guarded in areas where you need to stay guarded, and not overthink, you know, and not do all these little things that I think chip away at like our mental health and our physical health. You know what I mean? Because it's not, because for me, I don't look at things as like one big picture. It's always pieces of a puzzle. You know what I'm saying? So I look at it like, okay, it's not just this big whole thing. It's 1,000 little parts. So it's 1,000 little pieces. Why maybe I have experienced different types of traumas or different things, gone through different things because of, again, like you said, growing up in different environments, family structures, society and social norms and cultural norms, or what are societal norms and cultural norms. All these little things are like little pieces in how we respond and how we react. So I'm always trying to make sure I just take care of the little things. So if I can take care of the little things, then I can control what I can control. And then just not worry about everything else. Control what you can control and not worry about everything else.
Okay, so my question actually leading into that, when it comes to like the political and social events that have been occurring in our recent times, what do you think how has it affected your mental health as well as like those that are around you?
I need politicians to stop playing. Um, I go into a whole nother space when I talk about politics and I talk about society as a result of politics. Um, we as society will put superstars and athletes on pedestals and movie stars and force them to be role models and force them to be these type of people in society and force them to do things. And you are, oh, you are $100 million athlete, so you got to be a role model to my kids, or you doing it. But what about the politicians? Like, you know, what and is that, if that's something that you decide to do because I think you called to it, and I just need them to stop playing. But in addition to that, I'm starting to like detach from the political system, if I can say that out loud, just because I just don't believe the people that's in it or the people that operate in it. Not to say that it can't function and it can't be right and it can't do what it's designed to do, but you just got people playing in people's face out loud, intentional, and on purpose. So I just need them to stop playing, you know?
And then to go with that, like for those that are around you, do you see any difference in their mental health? Because I know for me, I see like the older people, since they've been voting their whole life, they have more of a mental, like it's almost like it's hard for them to, you know, be able to comprehend or take it in. It takes more of a toll on them than it seems like for younger people. But what do you see for the Black men community?
I see for the Black men community, I mean, for the most part, all in all, um, there is activism, there's movement, there's engagement and involvement. I think it gets tiring and draining because a lot of times there's just no progress or no real. It's just a lot of the same. It's just a lot of the same. So I think a lot of people are tired, not just Black men. You know what I mean? But I can tell you that we're tired. You know what I mean? And the guys and the fellas I talk to is just like it's gotta be another way. It's gotta be something different, and it ain't gotta be violent. But it's gotta be another way. You know what I mean? But it gets exhausting having to think about it because in thinking about it, trying to come up ways to make things happen, to make change happen, and then it just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So I think it might be time to reinvent the wheel. You definitely got to do something different. You know.
And actually, to plug into that, what do you see the future could look like?
Uh,
Or what would you like to see the future look like? Like if you could paint this and put this together as a Black man, knowing what Black men need and knowing how politicians don't show up, what would you like it to look like?
man, I think we need multiple political parties, right? And you need multiple parties because we are multifaceted as people, right? So there could be simply a men's and women's party. Then you break that down and say, okay, just for the sake of example in this conversation, there's Black men, there's white men, there's Asian men, there's Spanish men, and just leave it there for just the sake of conversation. And then you can do the same with women, right? So then you can have social groups. I think the social groups that we're a part of could probably have a bit more political impact as a part of being a part of the group. So say for instance, if I'm part of let's just say if I'm part of a runners group or a cycling group, you know, as cyclists, we can say, hey, we need more bike lanes. Or as a group, we're gonna throw our support this way and throw our support this way. So not only can I be represented by the men's party, but the Black men's party specifically, and because this group I'm in, we have what you want to just call it for sake of conversation, political influence, or we have the social currency to say, okay, we can put, you know what I mean, not only resources behind certain candidates, but then our vote, because we have enough constituents in our group and we just move in this way to, hey, if we just want to sit down one day and not spend no money, hey, we're not gonna sit down. We're gonna sit down and not spend no money. Then the city gonna be like the Montgomery bus boycott. We're losing money. We gotta do something. So that kind of thing. I think there needs to be more political groups. I think just being a Democrat or just being a Republican, I think that has to go away because that's not working. As far as how the system works in terms of voting and being voted by a group of your peers, yeah, you have to campaign. Yeah, all that makes sense. You know what I mean? And going to the polls, all that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's just the people that are in the system or the people that sit on Congress and the Senate, they just playing. Local city council, they just playing. You know what I mean? They doing something. Too much of one thing and not enough of something else.
Absolutely. Well, we are at time. I have enjoyed this conversation. I'm not going to speak for Deb. I'll let her say her part. But one thing I would like is for you to let the people know where they can find you, how to connect with you, whatever thing that you may ask of them or want to share with them. And also just want to say thank you for your time.
Man, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Let me say that. And I look forward to coming back again and sharing more and continuing the conversation. You can find me on social media. You can find me on IG at I am JBaker. You can find me on Facebook, JBaker the Third. You can find me on Google. And just follow, like, share, subscribe. And I'm a resident DJ at PH Craft Cocktails in Nashville, Tennessee. So if you're in the area, pull up on me Saturday nights, 7:30 to 11. So yeah.
Well, I just
hard to find.
Well, I just want to thank you again for coming on here for us and actually sharing some information that, a lot of other people are going to need. So we definitely appreciate you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that ends this episode of the Healing Corner podcast. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, tell people about it, come be guests, share comments, let us know what you want to hear about, all the things, because we are a 2-woman show and we want to know what y'all want to know. So thank y'all. And until next time, take care of yourselves.